What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the FF Ballbusters podcast. My name is Will. Joining me is my co-host Eric, and today we're going to talk about the 2024 wide receiver prospects. Now that we're about at the midway point of the season, just going to kind of take tally of who's who. But before we get into that, Eric, you got anything for the people?
Yeah, real quickly before we get started, just want to highly encourage you guys, if you do enjoy the content, to subscribe to the channel. You guys have been fantastic in that as of late. We've been growing. We've been seeing the subscriber numbers jump. We've been seeing the likes and the engagements jump, but we want to continue that momentum. So if you guys could continue to do that, that would be fantastic. Also hit that notification bell so you're up to date with all of our latest releases, and make sure you leave a comment below too. Obviously, we're going to go through the wide receivers like Will said today, so let us know your thoughts, who your favorite receivers in this class are, if you agree, disagree, any of that good stuff. But I'm ready to get into it, and I am incredibly excited for this video. These wide receivers, they're scary, man. They're really good this year.
Absolutely. This is going to be a fun one. Like you said, this is an extremely exciting draft class for these wide receivers so far. But we're going to go ahead and jump into the first one. We're not going to waste any time. Who do you have at number one? We're going to shock the world with this one, I'm sure.
There's absolutely no question. This is the easiest decision out of any of the rankings list that we've done so far. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State, 6'4", 205, probably the best player in all of college football. Like, that's not crazy to say, is it?
No, I legitimately feel like anytime he's on the field, he's the best player on the field every time.
Yeah, he's absolutely ridiculous. I could go on for days talking about him, but fluid route runner, strong and physical at the catch point, great ball tracking, catches everything. His hands are ludicrous, incredible body control too. Like the highlight reel catches of him on the sideline and contested catch situations are fantastic. He's incredibly fast and quick and can work all areas of the field, whether it be short, intermediate, deep, middle of the field, outside the numbers. He can do it all. He's a complete package and easy number one wide receiver in this class.
Yeah, he's a true alpha receiver. I completely agree. Also, I don't know if you guys put it together, he's also Marvin Harrison's son. I don't know if that's 100% seeable for you, but son of a Hall of Famer as well, so he's definitely got the pedigree. So that's amazing to see. We're going to roll into number two since we're in the general consensus there. Now, for these guys, for 2 through 4 for me, I feel like, it's Marvin Harrison, then maybe a slight teardrop into these guys, and I feel like they're kind of interchangeable. So if you don't like the order that I put these guys in, know that I feel like they can be kind of hot swapped around. At my number 2, I have Keon Coleman out of Florida State. So far on the season, he's got 29 catches for 418 yards and 7 touchdowns. At 6'4", 215 pounds, I just feel like he's an elite blend of size, speed, and strength. He had 9 forced missed tackles last year, and he's already at that point on the season so far this year. So he has improved at making moves in the open field, forcing more people to miss those tackles. He has no drops on the season so far, and I do feel like route running could be something that could be better for him. And that he relies on his physicality, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because he's really good at what he does. So I like Keon Coleman at this spot. I do feel like he's a little interchangeable with the people that come after him, but at the number 2 spot, I'm not mad at Keon Coleman being here at all. I feel like he will be able to make an impact at the next level pretty early on.
Yeah, I like Keon a lot. I don't have him quite that high, but I think that's a testament to just how good all of these guys are, and like you said, how interchangeable they are. In my notes written down from watching his tape, legit, the first things that I had were bigger than you, stronger than you, and faster than you. Like, he's just a dominant force out there. He's an elite jump ball catcher. It just makes it look so easy. He's quicker than you might think for his size. He's also been used like as a kick returner and a punt returner and looks good doing it, which is crazy for a guy that, like you said, is 6'4", 220, basically, 215, 220. So I was really impressed with his mobility as well. Like you said, not the most diverse route tree, but again, doesn't need to be when he's so physically dominant and good at the routes that he is already capable of using. Only real concern is that lack of route diversity, and sometimes like he can kind of have disappearing acts. Like if you look at the box scores, he's had total 0 game. He's had like a 3 for 22, a 2 for 54, but then all blow up games in between. So you'd like to see a little bit more consistency. But yeah, he's going to be phenomenal. And especially if given the right coaching and situation, he could be so elite at the next level.
Absolutely agree. Who do you have at your number 2 spot?
My number 2 is going to be Malik Neighbors out of LSU. 6 foot, 200 pounds, super fluid route runner. I love the way that he moves across the field. He makes things look super easy. He's really good at mixing up his tempo and his speed to create separation in his routes. I think he's another guy similar to Marvin Harrison Jr. that can get it done at all levels, whether it be outside the numbers, in the middle, short to deep, all the way through the route tree. He can get it all done. I think he's also really, really good at working back to his quarterback, especially in those kind of out of structure situations. He's always the guy that makes it back, that beats his DB, and provides a good throwing window to his quarterback. Part of why he ends up with these crazy stat lines each and every week. He had the game against Mississippi State that he went 13 for 239 and 2 touchdowns. I believe he's the best producer at wide receiver in college football right now, in terms of yardage and just total production. So yeah, he's absolutely balling. He's shifty in the open field as well. I've loved what I've seen from him on tape, and he's the easy number 2 for me.
Nah, I absolutely agree with that. He was somebody I thought about throwing in that number 2 spot as well. I actually do have him right here at 3. So I guess this is kind of a nice segue into that. Like you said, super high production. I believe 52 catches, 860 yards, and 7 touchdowns so far on the season, which is absolutely phenomenal. He shows great versatility, like you said as well. He's able to play on the inside and on the outside, and he's able to win consistently at both. He should be one of the fastest players in this class as well, something else you alluded to. He's got great speed, smooth route runner. He had 21 forced missed tackles on 71 receptions last year. So far this season, he has 15 on 52, so he's really good after the catch as well. So I love Malik Neighbors as well. He's somebody I thought about having in that 2 spot as well. So I really do like Malik Neighbors as a prospect going into this process.
Love that. Who would your number 3 receiver be on the list then? Or actually, sorry, that was your number 3. What am I talking about?
You're going to go with your
number 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for me, it's going to be Rome Odunze out of Washington. Loved his tape. Very different receiver than the first 2 guys that were on my list. He doesn't have quite the same speed and fluidity as Harrison Jr. and Neighbors do, but he wins with his physicality. I think that he does have good change of direction, like short area quickness ability, just not quite on the same tier as those guys above him. But another really good jump ball winner. I think his contested catches, not just in jump ball situations, but also over the middle of the field, working across all different routes, is really, really impressive. Still a really good and technical route runner, and has the requisite speed to win deep. He's not a burner necessarily, but all over his tape, he's constantly winning vertically and making plays downfield. And he's been a crazy producer so far at Washington, alongside 2 other draft eligible and really, really talented receivers in Jalen McMillan and I'm going to forget his name, Jalen Polk.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely tough to separate in that group, but he has clearly been the best so far with 818 yards on 18 yards per reception, also 6 touchdowns. He's absolutely killing it for one of the best teams in the country right now.
Nah, I absolutely agree, and it's funny that we did this again because we did this in our last video, but I had him right here at 4 as well. It's just funny the order I put him in, I guess. But I had him there too. Like you said, he was first team All Pac-12 last year. He's got a crazy combination of size, length, and speed at 6'3", 215. He's explosive and strong. He's got solid route running skills. Also, he improved in contested catches in the last year as well. He went from 25% contested catch rate to 72.7% this year. So
it's a strength.
Yeah, it's something that was
a
weakness that he has turned into a strength, and that's what you want to see out of your players. And his build is just amazing for him after the catch as well. So, like you said, Rome Odunze definitely separated himself as the best wide receiver out of that group, but there's a lot of talent in that group as well, and you may hear about some of them later on, like you said.
Yeah. So, all right, we're pretty close to right in stride here with each other. I'm going to go into my number 4, and that's going to be Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. I'm assuming we're going to continue the trend. Yeah. Incredibly technical route runner, just like super smooth slot guy. He's always open. He understands leverages and coverages really well. That was one of the things that I that kept standing out to me on tape is whether it's versus man or versus zone, he's always finding, the slots in between guys. He's working the leverage to find a way to present a viable target to the quarterback. And so he's going to be a quarterback's best friend when he gets to the next level. He's not a blazer, but he's definitely fast enough. I think he showed really strong hands in traffic. And comparatively speaking, some people might think he's small just seeing him next to Marvin Harrison Jr. and some of the other prospects and stuff like that. But he's still 6'1", 206.
Yeah.
And he shows that strength after the catch as well. I think he's really strong in yak situations. Really good short area, change of direction and quickness. Everything that you look for in that kind of slot specialist. I think that's probably what he's going to translate to at the next level. I don't know that he can necessarily really win at the outside consistently, especially once he gets to the next level. So that's, a little bit of a downside, but I feel like when you get these guys out of Ohio State coming from Brian Hartline, you know that they're going to be prepared for the next level. And so I just have that much trust in the coaching staff and in him that he's going to be successful when he gets to the NFL.
No, I absolutely agree. Like I said, I have him right here at 5 for me. And one of the notes that I have on him right here says, plays a lot in the slot and has the ability to make an impact immediately at the next level. However, doesn't have the ability to win on the outside that you'd like to see consistently. So, yeah. But the fact that he can play in the slot, we've seen these rookie wide receivers also step in and play in the slot this year even, and we've seen some great success found just from out of Josh Downs. And I feel like Emeka Ibuka is a better prospect than Josh Downs is pretty much all around. So in terms of him stepping up to the next level and making an impact, I think he can do that immediately. He's great at making people miss in the open field. And like you said, he's a sharp route runner, one of the best in this class. The only issue is, like you said, he plays behind Marvin Harrison Jr., so he does lose a little bit of that attention that he probably would have got if he was there by himself. But again, he's done the most with the opportunity he's got, and I can see him definitely being a first-rounder this season as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I fully expect that to be the case.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think we've finally rounded things out. At my number 5, I do have Keon Coleman, who we both already talked about. He was your number 2. So we've now gotten through all the first 5 names. We have the same names in a slightly different order. Who is your number 6?
My number 6 is Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. So far in the season, 25 receptions, 354 yards, and 4 touchdowns. 6'4", 196. He had a 2-touchdown game against Alabama, and he's kind of proven himself to be like a vertical threat through and through to me. I feel like he does a great job getting off a press and stays clean through his routes and through contact, through running those routes, through all the bump going down the field. And I also feel like he played really well for Georgia even before he transferred. So he still had pretty good production that year. I believe he played 12 games in Georgia before he left. But obviously moving over to Texas, he was able to be more featured. I feel like he's done well with that opportunity, and I'd like to see how that translates over at the next level, especially the ability to get off a press and playing through contact. I feel like that would be huge for him.
Yeah, so I like Adonai Mitchell, but you have him over Xavier Worthy.
I do.
His teammate.
I do.
Interesting. I like it. I don't have him quite this high. I have question marks really about both of these Texas receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're both really high upside, and like you said, are great at winning vertically. I think Adonai might even be more complete of a receiver than Xavier Worthy in terms of just his ability to run more of the route tree and be more physical, where Xavier is on the smaller side. But he's another guy similar to what we talked about with Keon, in that there can be some disappearing acts. I liked his tape in the few games that I watched more than what I saw statistically and analytically. He definitely had some games where he just didn't really show up in the box score. But again, I do really like Adonai Mitchell, just didn't have him quite as high.
That's fair.
So for me, at my number 6, I went with Troy Franklin out of Oregon. He's 6'3", 187. Did we do it again?
We've done it again.
We've done it again.
We're trapped in the cycle, folks.
Hey, that's how it is. We see eye to eye on most of these guys, so it makes sense that we would be very close in our rankings. I like Troy Franklin a lot. He's very versatile. I think that he's another guy that can work all of the areas of the field. Really good acceleration. I think from watching his tape, he really surprises people with how quickly he can get up to speed off the line and tends to beat people vertically easily and early in the route, which you love to see. I think he's a nuanced route runner as well. I heard actually I was looking through some other evaluations from people that I trust. One of the comps that I heard was like Devontae Smith light. And I thought that was maybe a little bit of a stretch. Smitty is on a different level, but I can kind of see at least the general direction of the comparison. He's on the more slender side. He's a good route runner, so I can understand where that comes from. Really good vertical playmaker, and you can see that in the box scores as well, where he's putting up 44 catches, 768 yards for almost 18 yards per reception on the season. He also has 8 touchdowns so far through, I want to say, only 7 games. Yeah. So 3 different games of multiple touchdowns. He's producing at a crazy level for this Oregon offense. Great ball tracking as well, which kind of goes hand in hand with that deep ball ability. So yeah, I think he's the full package. I want to see him put on a little bit of weight, because I think he might struggle a little bit getting off a press at the next level when he's not in a full spread offense like this. But I think he has the capability to get there.
Nah, I 100% agree. That's why I have him right here at my number 7 spot. Like you said, I feel like he's a very well put together route runner. I think he still could use a little bit more nuance. I think that's what's going to kind of separate him from guys like Smitty. I feel like he does a little bit too much sometimes, and that can, lead to, bad things happening. But I do feel like he is, all around a good receiver. I think he's a deadly red zone threat as well. He had 6 red zone touchdowns last year, so he is using the red zone and utilizes a weapon there. Drops have been a little bit more prevalent for him this year, but I feel like that can be fixed, or it may just be an outlier on the season. Could get better as the season goes on as well. And like you said, I feel like he does lack a little bit of physicality with his frame, but, if he's able to put on a little bit more weight, or even just, I don't know, we've seen guys be able to just adjust to the NFL at their frames and still do well. So he still may be able to just find some success at the frame he's at. But I do have Troy Franklin here, and I do, I respect his game. I like his game a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it just, again, goes to show how deep and talented this class is. That a guy like Troy Franklin is in, outside the top 5. He would have been inside the top 5, I feel like, in the past few draft classes, and they've been incredible at the wide receiver position as well. So, I'm excited to continue on here. So Troy Franklin was your number 7, right? Okay, so my number 7 is the other Texas receiver, Xavier Worthy.
Who I have at 8, of course.
Of course. I do have some doubts here. He's a guy that was highly touted after his freshman year where he broke out. He was talked about as kind of somewhere in the top 3 of this class for sure. He's definitely fallen a little bit, and I don't know that that's entirely his fault. Some of it's been the quarterback play and just the team surrounding him. I do think he has game-breaking speed and acceleration, which probably is going to be more beneficial to like his actual NFL roster than to maybe your fantasy lineup. He's a guy that's going to take the top off of a defense and make safeties and DBs respect his speed. And so it doesn't necessarily translate to a lot of volume at the next level, but it's going to open up the rest of the offense for whatever team he goes to. I do think he is a good vertical route runner, and he's good at, things that kind of come off of those vertical routes, like comebacks and stop routes and stuff like that. But he doesn't do much across the middle, which again makes sense with his size, considering he's only 6'1", 172. He's another guy with inconsistent hands, lots of drops across his tape, which aren't sticky, but it's been kind of consistent year to year where he continues to have these drop issues. So it's getting a little bit concerning. I see him as like a poor man's Hollywood Brown. That's kind of the comp that I had for him after watching his tape.
Nah, I like that comparison a lot. It's like, it's like a poor man's Hollywood Brown. Because like you said, he's great at the vertical stuff, but he's kind of a one-trick pony in that. But he's really good at it. But at the same time, 6'1", 172. He's another one of those super skinny receivers that we've kind of been seeing pop out a lot lately. So the frame is a little scary. He has been forcing more missed tackles this season, just marginally, but still forcing more than last year. And he's got great body control and route running ability. But like you said, it's just the versatility that comes with a player like this is a little bit lacking. And that's why I do have him a little bit lower down on my list. But we have seen him come out and perform at a high level as well. So I'm not completely lost on Xavier Worthy. I could see him coming to the next level and performing. But as of right now, I feel like he's one of those guys who... I don't know. I like him. I want to see more from him, really.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And if you look at the box scores as well, similar situation where he can tend to disappear from game to game. So I can definitely understand the worry. I think I'm probably leaning maybe too much on what he did his freshman year and what the Dynasty community thought of him earlier on. Maybe I shouldn't let that weigh so much on what we've seen the past 2 years, and I can understand why he's a little bit lower. I guess only one spot lower on your list, but makes sense to me.
True, true. And who do you have at number 9? Let's see if we broke it in the cycle.
No, well, it would be number
number
8 for me.
Sorry, number 8.
Yeah, that's okay. I have Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU.
Okay, cool.
Did we break it?
Yeah, we broke it. We've done it.
We finally break it?
We've done
Okay.
it.
All right. We're finally separating a little bit here. I like it. We got to have some differentiation. But Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, 6'4", 205, great size. There's going to be a common theme with my last 3 guys on the list here, so you're going to hear a lot of kind of repetitive notes from the tape that I watched. Big, physical, fast, and good after the catch are the biggest things that I saw from him. He wins vertically at will, which is crazy. He's another guy that makes it look easy. Mostly, like, he has the speed to do it, but also just his size. Like, if you throw a good ball, like, there's no way that the DB can out leverage him with how long his arms are, with how tall he is, with his athletic ability and body control. He continues to win vertically every single time I watched him go up for it. Jump ball winner as well. And I think he shows, not consistently, but the ability to run a more diverse route tree than some of these one-trick ponies that are just like the George Pickenses of the world that only win, on the sideline and in contested catch situations. So I think it's not a strength of his game right now, but it's something that he can definitely develop into.
No, I absolutely agree. I have him a little bit later, just a little bit, but like you said, I like him. I think he's part 2 of a great duo, obviously, with Malik Neighbors, 6'4", 205, played basketball in high school. I don't know, that's a little fun fact I found. Scored over more than 1,000 points in 3 seasons, so pretty good at. Started 9 games and 39 receptions for 610 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's a bit of a high flyer, 71.4% contested catch rate, which is something you love to see there. And like you said, his stop-start ability is actually surprisingly good, especially for someone at his size. It's something you love to see. So I do like Brian Thomas a lot. And we're going to move to the number 9 spot. And right here, I've got Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina. Yeah. At 6'3", 227, and I feel like that boy, he can move. And speed with that frame is really rare to come across. On the season so far, 38 receptions for 736 yards and 3 touchdowns. Honestly, he plays very physically. Obviously, he's huge, and he's very willing to block, which is something you like to see out of receivers. There's no drops so far on the season, and he's got a 72.7% contested catch rate. We've seen him put up some huge games against North Carolina. I believe 9 catches for 178 yards. The next week, 6 catches for 118 yards. He did struggle against Mizzou last week. He had a bit of a no-show, only 1 catch for 20 yards, but I feel like that's just an outlier because other than that, he's really performed at a high level the rest of the season. So I really like Xavier Leggett here as just somebody to perform at the next level, especially at his frame, his size. I just feel like it's a very rare combination of things.
No, I absolutely love it. I have him 1 spot lower. I have him at 10. But he's another guy similar to what we talked about with Keon, just bigger, faster, and stronger than every DB that he matched up against on tape. He was so much fun to watch. Not the most developed route tree, excels more vertically, but kills it vertically on crossers. And they also use him effectively in the screen game and like the jet sweep game. They make sure to get the ball in his hands and try to get him in space, and he just kills it, whether it's against DBs, linebackers, the whole gamut. So I love that pick a lot. He's going to be exciting to watch.
Thank you, sir. Who do you have at number 9?
My number 9 is Tez Walker out of UNC. Devontae Walker. He hasn't played very much. He had an interesting situation with like an eligibility issue. I guess he was a 2-time transfer, and so the NCAA was, I don't know, they have like a rule in place where like you have to wait a year, but he appealed it and then was able to come back halfway through the season. So he's only played 3 games so far, but he's immediately made an impact. After his first game against Syracuse, where he was just getting ramped up, he played Miami and UVA, and he's gone for 6 for 132 and 3 touchdowns, and then 11 for 146 and 1 touchdown against UVA. So he's been a producer immediately and probably the favorite target of Drake May since he's gotten there. He's got the requisite size at 6'3", 200 pounds. I think he's really fast as well. So again, like I said, these last three guys on my list, all very similar in terms of big, physical, fast, and good yak guys. And so I think he fits that mold as well. He's really, really exciting on tape. And we're only seeing the beginning because, like I said, it's been 3 games of him at UNC. So I can't wait to see how he develops even further throughout the season.
Absolutely. He's somebody I didn't really have on my radar a lot, I guess because of the situation being as weird as it was. He kind of flew under it. But absolutely, taking a look at this, I'm excited to see how he closes out the rest of the season, especially with Drake May throwing on the ball. It could be some very exciting things, and he could raise himself up this board quite a bit. Just looking at how he's been performing thus far. Absolutely. And like I said, at 10, I've got Brian Thomas here, and we already kind of had our spiel about this one. So you just be rolling to your next one, I guess.
Yeah, and for me, 10 was Xavier Leggett, who we've also already talked about. We keep going back and forth. Very similar thought processes here, as you guys can tell. So that does round out our top 10. Did we have, other than, I didn't have Adonai Mitchell on my top 10. Who did you not have in your top 10 that I had? Did you not put in Xavier Worthy? No, you had him in there.
I had Xavier Worthy.
It was Tez Walker. What am I talking about?
Tez Walker. That's it.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the only places where we really strayed apart. Let's talk about some honorable mention guys, because again, this class is super deep. There's a lot more names that we can talk about, but we wanted to get the top 10 solidified and talk about those guys in depth.
Absolutely. Just to name some names, like we said earlier, Jalen Polk out of Washington, someone who's been performing really well at a high level. Antoine Wells Jr. out of Carolina, I like him a lot. Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky, one of the more smaller guys, but also has been performing at a pretty high level. And I also like Johnny Wilson out of Florida State, just because he's 6'7". I want to see what he can do. So
fucking huge.
He's massive.
Bro, it's unfair what they're cooking over there at FSU with Keon and Johnny Wilson. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I had a lot of the same names. Well, first of all, I had Adonai Mitchell near the top of that list as well. He was just barely outside my top 10. Both of the guys from Washington, in Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan, I think they're both really, really impressive and are going to get drafted probably fairly early. Jacob Cowing out of Arizona, he was a transfer, I believe. I think he started at UTEP, but has been a fantastic producer at both schools. And then Johnny Wilson as well, just freakish size. Like, you can't discount a guy that's 6'7". He's gonna go out there and he's gonna ball at least a little.
Yeah, he's 6'7". You gotta at least see what can happen. You know what I mean? But with that being said, that's going to round out our list. So you guys made it this far into the video. Thank you for watching. And let us know down below if you agree or disagree with any of our lists. Do you think our order is whack, anything like that? Let us know in the comments down below. And hit that like button. It's absolutely free, and it's the best way to get our stuff out there. And like Eric said at the top of the video, you've been doing a great job with following and subscribing. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you know when we drop all of our latest videos. But before we go, Eric, do you have anything else for the people?
Yeah, just real quick, check those links in the description for us. We have a link to our Discord if you're interested in even deeper conversations with us and some of the community that we've already built up over there. We got a great group of people that we talk to basically every single day about Dynasty, about redraft, about all sorts of different stuff. So come join that community, ask us all the questions you want after you leave a comment on the video. Obviously, that would be fantastic too. And then also check our sponsors. We got Dynasty Owner down there if you're interested in a unique Dynasty experience. We got a little promo code. And then we also have Do Numbers if you're interested in 15% off some cool merch, apparel, hoodies, t-shirts, hats, all that good stuff. You can get 15% off using Do Numbers 15 promo code at checkout. So yeah, support us, support our sponsors. That would be very, very much appreciated. But if you made it all the way till the end, as always, we love you, and we will catch you in the next video. Peace.
Peace.